You're not lazy. You're not weak. And no, you don't need another productivity app. You're just being chemically punked by your own brain, one hit of dopamine at a time. Carl Jung, yes, the beauty Swiss guy figured this out before smartphones were even a twinkle in Steve Jobs' eye. He didn't know about Instagram, but he did know what happens when you chase empty pleasure instead of real purpose. And spoiler, it's not pretty. So if your life feels stuck in second gear while everyone else zooms past, yeah, let's talk. Because this isn't a motivation issue. It's a chemistry war. So here's the question. What does Carl Jung, a man who died in 1961, have to do with your modern-day dopamine disasters? More than you think. Jung spent his life studying why humans act against their own best interests. Why we sabotage, delay, distract, and drown in drama when we know damn well we shouldn't. Sound familiar? Dopamine is the molecule that rewards you for doing something potentially useful. But in 2025, that system is hijacked by digital candy. Scroll, like click, doom scroll again. Your brain is cashing in fake rewards faster than Vegas on a Friday night. But Jung warned us, when we avoid real inner work, our shadow takes the wheel. That hidden part of us that thrives on numbing, escaping, and pretending. So yeah, your screen addiction, your procrastination, your fear of starting, that's not just dopamine. That's your shadow, riding a dopamine wave straight into your motivation's funeral. Now, want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes? Because once you learn how dopamine and your shadow work together, you'll never look at your Netflix binge the same again. Let's play a little game. Imagine you've got two buttons in front of you. Button A gives you the slow, hard path to success. Discipline, focus, delayed gratification. Button B, it gives you instant stimulation. A funny video, a notification, a hit of dopamine. No effort, no waiting. Now guess which one your brain hits 9 times out of 10? Yep, B every time. Your brain isn't evil. It's just lazy. It's designed to survive, not to thrive. And in a survival-based brain, easy now beats better later every time. That's the dopamine trap. It rewards the intention to do something, not the completion of it. You think about going to the gym? Ding dopamine. You open your Notion planner and highlight the word goals? Ding dopamine. You imagine your dream life while still lying in bed? Ding ding dopamine jackpot. But reality? Nothing happened. No reps, no progress, no results. Just a chemical high with no substance behind it. Dopamine has tricked you into feeling accomplished without actually accomplishing anything. And the more often this happens, the more you start to believe the lie. You feel productive. You feel inspired. But you're actually just sedated. Carl Jung would call this a split in the self. You present one identity, the hustler, the dreamer, while your actions belong to the avoider, the comfort addict, the ghost of dead goals past. And the scariest part? You don't even notice the split anymore. You're so doped up on digital success that failure feels normal. But what if that fake feeling of progress is exactly what's stopping you from changing? Let's ask Jung. Carl Jung wasn't against pleasure. He wasn't the kind of guy to yell nitrogen monoxide fun aloud from a mountaintop in Switzerland. But he was deeply suspicious of pleasure that replaces purpose. You know the kind. Minus 10 hours of TikTok, but no time for your goals. Constant dopamine hits, but zero meaning. Laughing at memes while silently panicking at 3 Jung would call this the domain of the shadow. See, the shadow isn't just your dark side. It's every part of you that's been ignored, rejected, or hidden, all shoved into a mental basement labeled, deal with this later or never. And guess what? Your shadow loves dopamine. Because every time you choose to hit over the hard thing, you're feeding it. Then face who I really am. You're saying, I'd rather feel good for 5 seconds. Jung believed that when we avoid facing discomfort, pain, or fear, we don't eliminate them. We just give them control in disguise. Your unhealed wounds start picking your habits. Your deepest fears start shaping your choices. So when you chase cheap pleasure again and again, you're not just avoiding growth, you're surrendering to your shadow. And here's the plot twist. The longer you avoid your purpose, the more meaningless pleasure starts to feel like pain. You scroll to feel better, but end up feeling worse. Because deep down, you're not hungry for stimulation. You're starving for significance. And if Jung were here, he'd tell you, only the meaningful can heal the meaningless. Modern life isn't life anymore. It's a full-time dopamine buffet dressed up as opportunity. Everything you touch has been engineered not to help you win, but to keep you playing. Instagram, a slot machine. YouTube Shorts, slot machine. Notifications, likes, messages, retweets, slot. Every scroll is a spin. Every like is a jackpot. Every comment is a coin drop. But guess what? The house always wins. You're not the player. You're the product. And while you're caught in the flashing lights and emotional FOMO, your goals, your values, your real identity, they're getting looted in the background. Jung would call this psychic fragmentation. When you become so externally stimulated, you forget what your internal voice even sounds like. And here's the kicker. The more stimulation you feed your brain, the weaker your natural reward system becomes. That means real relationships feel boring. Actual books feel slow. Deep work feels painful. Silence feels threatening. Because compared to the fast, flashy casino of your phone, life feels dull. And once dopamine resets your baseline, you need even more to feel even less. It's the perfect trap. You chase excitement and end up numb. So ask yourself, are you busy chasing goals? Or are you just pulling levers and calling it progress? Because the real game isn't on your phone. It's in your mind. And right now, your shadow is counting the chips. Let's flip the script. What if dopamine isn't your enemy, but your shadow's favorite snack? Carl Jung taught that the shadow isn't just the bad stuff inside you. It's everything you repress, your fear of failure, your hunger for validation, your ego pretending to be chill. And guess what? Dopamine gives all of that a microphone. Let me explain. You're scrolling, not because you're curious, but because you're avoiding something. You're chasing attention, not because you're confident, but because you're insecure. You're obsessing over productivity videos, while avoiding actually doing the work. Why? Because your shadow is in charge. And it's clever. It uses dopamine to keep you trapped, stuck in loops that feel like control, but are actually chaos in disguise. Here's the wild part. Most of your dopamine habits aren't random. They're patterns your unconscious mind picked to help you escape discomfort. They're the alarm system of your inner world. So next time you feel the urge to scroll, shop, snack, ghost someone, or rewatch a YouTube video on discipline instead of just doing the damn thing, pause and ask yourself, what am I actually avoiding right now? What fear, failure, or truth am I trying not to feel? That's your shadow speaking in code, and dopamine is its translator. Jung would say this, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the problem isn't that dopamine is bad. It's that you've never asked who's behind the craving. All right, you're aware now. You've seen the trap. You've stared your shadow straight in the algorithm. But now what? Unplug? Delete Instagram? Join a monastery? Nope. Carl Jung didn't believe in dopamine detoxes. He believed in integration, facing your shadow and becoming whole. His big idea? Individuation. Translation. Become the person you actually are, not the version dopamine or society trained you to be. Here's how you start. Step 1. Radical self-honesty. Ask yourself uncomfortable questions like, what am I pretending not to know? Which version of me is real, the online one or the offline one? What pain have I been avoiding with productivity? Write it down. Stare at it. Don't flinch. Step 2. Make discomfort your teacher. Every time you want to run, don't. Sit. Feel the urge. Notice the craving. Say to your brain, "You try." Discipline doesn't start with action. It starts with interruption. You stop the loop before it starts. Step 3. Build rituals, not routines. Routines are mechanical. Rituals are meaningful. Wake up and write. Go for silent walks. Do something boring but honest every day. This reprograms your reward system. It tells your shadow, I'm not here to escape. I'm here to evolve. And slowly, dopamine stops being the boss. Because here's the real flex, doing meaningful work, even when no one's watching. Even when it's hard. Even when it doesn't reward you instantly. That's purpose. That's identity. And Jung would say, that's when the shadow becomes your ally, not your saboteur. So here we are. You wanted to know why you're not winning at life. And yeah, dopamine's a big part of it. But here's the twist. Carl Jung would whisper from beyond the grave. It's not just the molecule. It's who's using it. Dopamine's just the delivery boy. Your shadow is the one placing the order. It's the part of you that says, just chill. You don't really need to change. Let's feel good now and figure out your future later. And if you don't interrupt that voice, it will run your life, your goals, your relationships, your identity. So what now? You can keep chasing temporary hits and calling it living. Or you can start reclaiming your power, moment by moment, craving by craving, shadow by shadow. Carl Jung believed that when you stop running and start integrating, you don't just feel better, you become someone who no longer needs to escape. And hey, if this hits something real, subscribe to Rethinking Motivation. We go way beyond dopamine. We dive into the real stuff Machiavelli's mind games, Nietzsche's spicy existential punches, and Jung's psychological jiu-jitsu every week. So smash that subscribe button like it owes you clarity. Drop a comment about your shadow's favorite distraction, and let's build a mind that actually wants what your soul needs. Because dopamine may be loud, but purpose is louder. Welcome to Rethinking Motivation.